Hey there, everyone. I'm Emily A. Hay, the founder of Hey There Social Media. Welcome to our guest speaker social media video series, where I interview incredible women who are work-life integrators. Work-Life Integration Nation is about living every moment intentionally, bringing together your professional responsibilities and your personal choices into one with synergy. I think of it as a way to design your day, to really design your life. It allows you to be present and fulfilled, not overwhelmed and not lacking focus. So with that, we welcome you to Work-Life Integration Nation. I'm thrilled today to have a guest that is very big in my world of who I follow. This is Megan Murphy. Megan Murphy is the content director over at Women's Day Magazine. Welcome so much today, Megan.
Hi, thanks for having me. So I think the key for me that it was never a decision. There was never a moment where I thought, wow, my life and my work should work in harmony. It's really for me been more like I'm a person that does things passionately, and if I don't care about what I'm doing, I can't actually do it very well. So I've always chased careers and dreams and jobs that really kind of enabled me to live what I love and somehow make a paycheck possible by virtue of living with passion.
Okay, so is doing what you love advice that, feels so intangible, but have you lived by that?
And I also think that's like super, super cliche. And I never want to be like, do what you love and it'll never feel like work, because that is a bunch of crap too. I've been very lucky that if I'm interested in something, I'm able to pursue it with passion and therefore probably have a better result than if I pursued something I didn't give a crap about because I thought I could make a good paycheck. So if I look at the span of my career, I started at Teen People when I was a teen. I worked at Cosmopolitan when I was like single in the city. I worked at Self during some of my more self-formative years where I got engaged and married and had my kids. I moved over to Good Housekeeping, like no coincidence, as I moved to the burbs and had my third kid. So if I really look at where I've worked and what I've done, it always really absolutely coincided with the moment I was at in my life. And that was because those were the things I cared about. And when you have passion and you have purpose, you're going to do better at whatever it is you're doing. So the second I moved over to Good Housekeeping, I loved my job itself. I was there 9 years. I was the fitness director, the deputy editor, created the Self Challenge, helped people realize their goals. Really, really fun and fulfilling. Loved that job. But when the Good Housekeeping job kind of came to me, it was like, you know what? I am about to embark on this next journey. I care about dishwashers. I care about swing sets. I care about home hacks. And so I sort of kind of just diverted my energies. And where I diverted my energy is where I was able to thrive.
Thank you for giving us just a snapshot of your background. One thing I'm hearing so clearly from you, you really bring work-life integration to another level because, again, your work just mirrored what you were living every day, every phase.
100%. Well, and it's kind of amusing because if I look at when I was at Cosmo Editor, I was dating. And so I cared about dating. I cared about finding a relationship. I cared about those things. When I was at Self, I cared about myself. I cared about living my best life, being the best version of me, and finding, I got to work out for a living. I was, I didn't have kids yet, so I was the center of my own universe. So working out, eating healthy, really taking care of myself and pampering and self-care to the penultimate because I only had me to care about, and then Good Housekeeping. I had a house to care for. I had a house to keep in order. And then Women's Day has just been sort of really, really neat because I got to take over Women's Day as the content director. So I could really kind of make it what I cared about and kind of steer it that way. And for me, I'm in a point in my life where I've kind of remarketed and rebranded, and we've really refreshed Women's Day as Destination Celebration, where our motto is no holiday left behind from Taco Tuesday to Christmas. And we are going to find a reason and find the yay in every day. So now and that kind of obviously ties into my book and where I'm at in my life. But where I'm at in my life is that There's yay in every day. There's joy even in the darkest moments if you know how to find it. And so that's really kind of been the gift now of working at Woman's Day. It's exactly where I'm at in my life. And so I'll probably be good at it because it's what I care about.
It's so, again, I think the word authentic is oftentimes really overused, but I'm hearing truly the textbook definition of being authentic in your career path.
100%.
And also, you mentioned that your career has incorporated, today you're a mom, so it's incorporated your family. So tell me a couple of things that are going really well.
Well, that's been incredibly neat for me. So my kids, I call them Team Murphy. I think everyone should treat their family like a team. And during quarantine, it was pretty wild. Like I have a TV background and I've always done a lot of TV. The kids have done some things with me. But during quarantine, we really thrived with our at-home TV segments for the Today Show and Live with Kelly and Ryan and Tamron Hall, where it was like, okay, my husband was the camera person. I tried to pull my own hair and makeup together, and I got the kids involved. We did an Easter segment and a Mother's Day segment. We did backyard fun, home hacks, summer fun. And really, we became, and Team Murphy, eventually I had to give them a couple of bucks because they're like, we're working, Mom. And I'm like, I get it. Yes, you deserve to be paid like an actor at this point because it got ridiculous how much work we were doing as a family. But it was like, I'm home and you're home, and now we're going to do TV segments. So it's really sort of like, taking whatever it is you have and finding the yay in it and kind of making the best out of it.
I love the entrepreneurial lessons you're teaching them, career paths, production. Yeah. I mean, really, it's bringing your kids to work to a whole nother level.
Well, I have to think we taught ourselves. I think my husband and I taught ourselves sound, production. I mean, I produced every full-blown shoots, and my husband, who has got a degree from Stern and he's a finance guy, is like filming live TV shows with like a producer in his ear counting him into Hoda and Jenna, and he's like, okay, Mac. I'm like learning how to rig a ring light and do all the things. So it's been a wild journey, but I think again the key is it's like, hey, listen, stay in your day, be where you are, and do something. And so we figured out how to do work from the house.
I'm finding so much yay in Team Murphy's day. Again, the whole fix the plane while flying it. You and your husband obviously are teaching the kids. You just sometimes have to move forward without all the answers. Exactly. So that sounds like a great thing of work-life integration in your household there.
Yes, we just make it work. And I guess I think part of the thing for me is I don't think that hard about making it work. I don't angst about making it work because I never believe there's one solution. And I think that's sort of the key for people is to think about, okay, what if there's more than one answer? And whatever I choose, whatever path I take, is it wrong or right? It's just the path I chose.
That speaks right to my heart because I am someone who feels like if I hustle and force it, then I'll get it done. So I feel like I can control what I get done, but it sounds like you're just reminding people there's more than one way to get there.
Exactly.
Forcing isn't the best way at times.
No, there's endless ways to get anything done. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned just being a magazine editor. It's like, okay, if we don't love what we did in November, we'll do it different in December. Like, we can't angst over this. Well, we're going to print another magazine next month. Okay. And digital really teaches you can just pump out endless content and, change it on the seat, fly by the seat of your pants. So it's like, there's no right way. There's no right answer. There's plenty of right answers. So you can't paralyze yourself and stifle yourself by trying to find that holy grail of answers.
Speaking right to my type A soul, Megan. Thank you for that permission that there's more than one way.
I think the thing is I used to be type A, I think, but as a 45-year-old mother of 3 who's lived a lot of life, not too worried about, I'm just not too much. I'm more worried about being than I am with accomplishing. But that was hard earned. Okay,
that's so, again, speaking to being present and being intentional, those sound very fluffy, but what you just mentioned just makes it so real. So I appreciate you saying it that way.
Yay.
Okay, you've given the yay in the day. What about challenges of being a work-life integrator?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges, especially if you're balancing with and trying to find synergy. Now, I really don't love the word balance, so I think of it as synergy, because really the goal is to have it all work like an orchestra. There's the drum section and the violin section, and there's tons of, like, in my orchestra, there's 5 of us, and we've all got different instruments. And for it to sound like music, we all need to be playing our part. So it's really about creating this harmony and this synergy amongst the 5 of us, amongst Team Murphy. I think the key is allowing everyone to feel appreciated and reminding to add gravy to your gratitude. So it's not really enough to say thank you. I think it's about adding the why and the details of the thank you. So I kind of call it adding gravy to your gratitude. So it's not like, hey, honey, thanks a lot for taking that picture. It's like, you know what, honey? Thank you so much for taking that Instagram picture for me, because I am so proud of this turkey that I just made out of crudité. And it really means a lot to me that you had the patience for letting your kids, letting everybody know and feel that you value them and that you are all working together and everyone is appreciated. Because I think, especially right now, like, how easy is it to get swept on I did more. Well, I did drop off and pick up, and I started the Zoom call, and you were in a meeting, right? It's easy to get resentful. It's easy to feel like I'm doing everything.
So I'm hearing the clear challenge of all parties in a family might feel underappreciated, and that takes being grateful and showing gratitude to another level again of just making sure that you might gloss over it and appreciate that they took the photo, but taking the time to explain to that person instead of holding it in is really going to come back.
Why something was helpful, how something benefited you, why you're so grateful, right? Like, thanks. It doesn't hit your receptors in the same way. Thanks because look at, this is how it made me feel. Like, like if I say to my husband, thanks for cooking dinner, that's one thing. But if it's like, thanks for cooking dinner, I don't know how to cook. It's impossible to me to even comprehend putting something on the table. I'm hungry, I need to eat, and I have celiac disease. It's even more challenging for me to find something to eat. And the fact that you take so much time and energy to prepare these healthy, satisfying meals for the whole family really means a lot to me.
Plus, if you go the extra mile and provide all that explanation, then there's no misinterpretation of, is this just a snarky, sarcastic, not really.
Because honestly, like in these pandemic times, there's just really no room for snark with your loved ones, right? There's no room for snark.
That's fair. So I know your mom was a teacher, and again, I'm a mom with 2 young school-age children, and we're all doing this virtual school scenario. Any challenges with that? I just have to ask, being in pandemic times.
So I cheated. I'm a cheater. I sent my kids to Catholic school, and they go from 7:50 to 3 p.m. It's like a private school. So far, so good.
Okay.
They wear uniforms. It was never something we had looked into before. It was never something that was really on our radar, but it has been a legit godsend. And I am eternally grateful that this is working out. But that said, I do have some hacks and tips and tricks for people who are at home trying to navigate this hybrid situation. In our town, the public schools, they go for 4 hours, 2 days a week, and then the rest is virtual. It is incredibly challenging just to maintain who needs to go where when. I have 3 kids, 10, 8, 7. Frankly, like, I work 3 jobs. I have a podcast, a book, the magazine, TV. My husband has a full-time job. We were like, we're either going to have to hire a teacher to do drop-off pickups and start Zoom call and monitor homework. We're going to have to look into private school. And private school is actually cheaper.
Well, and the kids were happy. You're so candid. You're saying that was your hack, but yet I'm sure there's also some concerns. I mean, there's Catholic schools, there's private schools where we are, and just concerns that if something shuts down, I'm sure you have some stress of knowing you have to be flexible on a dime.
Exactly. And I've sort of tried to say this to my team. Like, I started my job at Women's Aid at the beginning of the pandemic. We've never even met in person, and I'm like, we could just laugh about this and be like, we managed to redesign a magazine, change the logo, and reinvent a 130-something-year-old brand from our homes. Like, we can do anything. And if you sort of look at those challenges, I'm like, hey, listen, if we fail now, it's funny, right? Like, and we've got a built-in excuse. We've got a pandemic, so whatever. Don't overthink it. Right now, it's working, and I'm very grateful that it's working right now. I think the key for any of us is really routine, establishing a routine, sticking to a routine. Even if you don't leave the house, dress up to feel up, get dressed, no sweats, curl your hair, make the kids get dressed. This is not a pajama party unless they're doing a virtual spirit week. Like, get dressed, brush your teeth, make your bed. Make your bed. Don't do your Zoom call in bed. Don't do your homework in bed. Schedule your snack break. Does the teacher say to you, oh yeah, it's snack whenever you want? No, that should be scheduled. Movement time should be scheduled. And yeah, that could be painful for a week or two, but once you get everybody sort of working on a routine, people thrive in that environment. Kids actually crave routine and really, really need it. So I think that's the key for anybody. And then when you sort of get that kind of fatigue of like it's not working, change it up. Change the scenery. If everybody had their desk at the dining room table, switch it to the kitchen table. A change of scenery can sometimes be that little spark that the kids need to be, re-energized. It's simple things like that.
And you're taking so much of your real world, work side and bringing it right into the personal life side. Mm-hmm. So that's so exciting to hear that it's not always, a division or a balance. There's skills that apply to both. And also
absolutely. So, yeah. I mean, and I'm a terrible teacher, but I know how to manage employees. So I'm managing my students as if I were managing employees. I think there's also fun things to think about, like, grown-ups have done all of these Zoom calls. Well, what about, like, what's your kid's Zoom background? Can you get the teacher to take pictures of the actual classroom so that their Zoom background or their WebEx background or whatever they're on is the actual classroom? Maybe you have a white noise machine in the house so it feels, calm and serene, and the lawnmower or the mailman ringing the doorbell, those kind of things, and decorating your house like a classroom. I am the biggest proponent of decorations. We're in apple season right now. Okay, throw up a little apple decor. We made the cutest things in Women's Day. We took apples, hollowed them out, and made these little cups and little sippers, like a little seasonal craft. Use the apples as a stamper. Like, just kind of those fun moments of, like, we're not in a preschool classroom, but we can still do crafts and have fun and celebrate the season and find ways to break up the monotony and to find joy.
Well, I've worked from home for 10 years, and I've always been aware of my physical environment and the mood it puts me in. But I feel like so silly that I didn't even think so much about how that also pertains to the children. Oh, and yeah. While I don't have a Pinterest homeschool going on, I own some apples, and I can at least do that.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing, too, is I feel like everyone needs to give them permission to not be a walking Pinterest board. Like, nothing needs to be perfect. Like, you do not need to recreate a schoolhouse in your basement. Like, you give yourself permission to, like, it can be anything. It can be a card table and, like, a box of crayons. You got this. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect and beautiful at all.
So a lot of that advice you gave literally segues into the last question here, but also, you're so busy here, Megan, and I think about women that, they might be thinking, what's a better way for me to integrate my work self and my life self? So you've given some really practical advice for this time. Is there anything else you'd say for women who want to get better at integrating these two aspects?
I think, I feel like we all have to kind of, like, if you work on yourself first, right? What makes you happy? What makes you feel energized and alive and fully charged? What is the thing that your friends come to you for? I mean, sometimes it's like, I think a lot of people are reevaluating career right now. And here's the thing, like, what are you good at? What do people come to you for? Like, the reason I wrote my book was because everyone came to me saying, like, hey, you have so much energy. How do you have so much energy? How do I bottle that energy? Well, because I couldn't bottle it, I wrote a book about it. And it's packed with those kind of strategies, tips, and tricks to help anybody access that energy reserve. But maybe people come to you and are like, wow, you have the most beautiful hair, or you can really style an office. Like, what is it about you that people come to you for? Do you give the best advice? Like, are you always in the know on the best restaurants? Like, what is it that people come to you for? And then how could that translate into a possible job skill?
I think
or
again,
career.
that's really smart to give women kind of those parameters to think about themselves, because let's be honest, you have a lot of time to be very introspective during a pandemic. It's not always productive thinking, but at least to say, hey, what am I interested in? What am I already good at? And again, just as I asked you, advice for gals possibly considering this at any point. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, but just again, a way to get yourself kind of work life.
And I also think we're sometimes we're mean to ourselves. We're our own worst critics. It's hard for us to recognize in ourselves what's good about us. And at that point, it's like, can you call your sister? Can you call your best friend? Can you call somebody you trust and be like, what do you value in me? What do you think I'm good at? Like, what's something you would describe me to me? Like, tell me about me. My sister would do that very clearly, and I'd be like, oh, you're right. Maybe that's where I don't belong in banking. It's too solitary. I hate numbers. I need to be around people.
So good. Asking someone to tell me about me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan. So real quick, tell us book, podcast. I know you've got Off the Gram. Tell me where we can find you.
So my book, Your Fully Charged Life, with Penguin Random House, comes out February 23rd. The cover reveal is on Friday, September 18th, and pre-sale starts. So I'm very excited about that. Woman's Day magazine, the October issue, is now on newsstands. It's filled with holiday fun, Halloween fun. I'm really proud of the magazine, and it really is a celebration on every page, and it will leave you feeling joyful and energized. I have a podcast called Off the Gram, which really kind of even exploded this weekend. We did a 2-part series on the F Factor diet, which was pretty controversial and pretty cool. And we're doing a special live event with Ariana Huffington on October 5th to benefit Ronald McDonald House. That is all about managing stress, which I think is going to be a really good live show. If you register for that, there's even we send a party box to your house so you can go live with us. And what else? Then just regular TV appearances and things like that, but keeping busy. Keeping all very busy.
So busy. Phenomenal. Again, very busy gal. Love hearing all the different channels you have with work, everything going on. Thank you for inspiring us today. And again, giving women practical ways to be better work-life integrators. I appreciate your time, Megan.